Good morning, Miss Griffin's class. For this week's read aloud, I am reading Clam I Am, all about seaside creatures. This is a Cat in the Hat book written by Tish Rabb. So we have been learning about creatures that live in the ocean and on the beaches, and this is going to help us learn a little bit more with some fun rhymes because it's Cat in the Hat. Hello, I'm a fish. To the beach let us go. The Fish Channel asked me to star in a show. It is called Fish and Friends. You can be on it too. Your mother will not mind at all if I do. Today on our show, we are off to explore where the sea meets the sand at the edge of the shore. Where the waves crash in bubbles of foam, you'll meet lots of creatures who call the beach home. Meet my friend Clam I Am. She would like to say hi. She lives in the sand and she's a little bit shy. Clam I Am has two shells. They have rings you see here. The rings show how much she has grown every year. See this hole in the sand? Well, thing one and I know. It means there's a clam in the sand below. A clam has one foot that helps it move about. Clams pull salt water in and spit salt water out. Hello, horseshoe crab. How did he get his name? His shell and his horseshoe are both shaped the same. His shell shields his body from any attack. His eyes are in front and his tails are in back. He has 4 eyes but can't see very well. To find his food, he is helped by his keen sense of smell. They're not really crabs. Every crab has antennae. Look closely, you'll see horseshoe crabs don't have any. Hermit crabs don't have shells, so they look till they find empty shells on the sand that have been left behind. Then they drag these new shells everywhere that they go. When the shell gets too tight, they need more room to grow. So each crab starts to hunt for a new shell to use. There are lots to be found. It's easy to choose. My next guest is a sea star. He told me today that each of his 5 legs are known as a ray. If the sea star gets hurt and loses a ray, a new ray begins to grow right back right away. Sea stars are quite slow when they move around. Tiny cups on their feet hold them to the ground. These creatures are mollusks. They have a hard shell. Shells protect their soft bodies and do so quite well. Seaweed doesn't have roots. It grabs rocks and holds tight. Some seaweed grows up where it gets to the sunlight. Some seaweed you'll find grows a lot deeper down. Seaweed can be green, purple, red, pink, or brown. When you pick a seaweed up, you'll find creatures like these. These are sandhoppers, which are also known as sand fleas. Seagulls fly near the ocean, their cries fill the air. If you're eating your lunch, they're hoping you'll share. We learned about seagulls, would you ever think it? Seawater is salty, but seagulls can drink it. They're not fussy eaters, they think it's a treat if they find some dead fish or some rubbish to eat. Sandpipers run with the waves at low tide in search of with their bills to find worms where they hide. Spend time on the beach and you'll see right away the ocean has high and low tides every day. The tides are caused by the sun and the moon, and I know their forces pull the oceans and make the tides flow. At low tide, the water pulls back from the shore. At high tide, it's back where it started before. A tide table like this makes it easy to see when today's 2 low tides and 2 high tides will be. If you walk on the beach at low tide, you will find all kinds of sea creatures the tide left behind. See these clear blobs of jelly? Thing 2 and why fear them? Some jellies sting, so we don't go near them. Some shells travel miles and miles without breaking. Find one shell in one piece and you know it's worth taking. Find a big shell like this, put it up to your ear. You might be surprised at the sound that you hear. This tidal pool you will find is a home to creatures who stay here and who never roam. These shells are called barnacles. Watch them right there. The wave splashes over them and threads will appear. These threads are barnacles' feathery feet. They grab food floating by for this creature to eat. Not far from the shore, the sand is blown into dunes. Dunes are homes to crabs, birds, rats, mice, and raccoons. When we go to the beach, we make sure that we take some old trainers, a pail, a small net, and a rake. We wear our old trainers without any socks so our feet won't get cut by glass shells or rocks. The net lets us scoop things out of the sea. The rake helps us dig in the sand endlessly. We put what we find in our pail, and then, when it's time to go home, we set them free once again. The next part of my show I'll call Go Ask of the Fish. I will answer 3 questions. Pick one if you wish. Why is the ocean blue? Ocean's water is clear, it just looks blue. Here's why. Like a mirror, it shines back the blue from the sky. If you look at the ocean on a dark, cloudy day, it shines back the clouds, so the water looks gray. Why is seawater salty? Raindrops fall from the sky and fill rivers, which flow, washing salt off rocks wherever they go. The rivers flow to the ocean, and as the years pass, some water heats up and is turned into gas. The salt in the water is left, and that's why oceans get saltier as time goes by. What makes waves? Wind blows over water, and small waves then grow. They get bigger and bigger the stronger wind blows. They keep going and growing and head for land. Then the waves hit the beach and they crash on the sand. When the stronger winds die down, the waves die down too. Until next time when the wind blows on through. Now it's Shop with the Fish. We have gifts from the sea. You can order today and all the gifts are free. We have pieces of sea glass that the sun makes them glow. There are pieces of bottles that broke long ago. They were tossed by the waves. Over time they were ground by the salt and the sand until the edges were round. I've got lots of sea glass and most of it's green. This piece is the prettiest I've ever seen. We have beautiful driftwood, and here's the best part. It's ready-made sculpture, a real piece of art. Tossed by the wind and the waves every day, it was bleached by the sun until it turned light gray. To make this swim chime, I took lots of shells and hung them together like they jingle like bells. To make this sand painting, first take the colored sand, then for the patterns, let it fall from your hand. So if you have different colored sand, you can make a picture. Oh dear, our show's over. We must hit the road. Please join us next time for a new episode. Come back to the beach. You will smell the salt air, hear the cry of the gull, and feel the wind in your hair. You will find a seashell to hold in your hand, build a high castle, and dig your toes in the sand. Everywhere that you look, you'll find creatures galore. When you look even closer, you'll find even more. So that is our story about animals that you will find on the beach. And other creatures like crabs and all the starfish. So there are so many different animals, the seagulls. So I want you to go on Google Classroom and answer a question about the beach and the animals that live there and call it its home. Thank you for listening with me. Bye, Miss Griffin's class.